There is a moment when someone says something about you, a comment, a whisper, a judgment, and you wait for the familiar tightening in your chest, and it doesn't come. You feel nothing, or more accurately, you feel free. According to researchers at the University of Houston, the average person spends over 3 hours a day managing what others think of them, adjusting their words, rehearsing conversations, replaying moments, shrinking. But you stop doing that. And the strangest part? Nobody around you fully understands why. They call it coldness. They call it arrogance. They say you've changed. But you know what actually happened. You weren't always like this. There was a version of you that checked your phone the moment you sent a message, watching for a reply, calculating what the silence meant. There was a version of you that rehearsed sentences before saying them out loud, wondering how they'd land. You were fluent in the language of other people's approval. You spoke it every day without even noticing. And then, slowly, or maybe suddenly, something shifted. Maybe it was the friend whose opinion you protected for years, who turned around and spoke about you like you were nothing. Maybe it was the moment you realized you had built your entire self around a version that other people could tolerate, not a version that actually felt like you. Psychologist Carl Rogers called this the gap between the real self and the ideal self, the person you actually are versus the person you perform for the world. And when that gap gets wide enough, something in you stops cooperating with the performance. And here's what nobody tells you. That shift isn't weakness. It isn't giving up. Your brain is doing something extraordinarily sophisticated. Neuroscientists studying social cognition found that chronic approval seeking activates the same neural pathways as addiction. The dopamine hit from validation, the withdrawal when it disappears, the constant craving for more. Research also shows that people who depend heavily on external validation experience higher levels of anxiety, shame, and emotional exhaustion. In other words, living for other people's opinions is biologically draining. When you stop, your nervous system isn't shutting down, it's recovering. Think about what it costs to maintain. Every conversation filtered, every action prejudged, every impulse checked against an invisible audience that may not even be watching. One psychologist wrote that the greatest tragedy of modern life is not that people suffer, it's that they suffer while performing happiness for others. So when you stopped performing, that wasn't a breakdown, that was your first breath of actual air. But here's where your story gets interesting. Because people like you don't arrive here by accident. Research shows that people who grew up in unpredictable environments become highly aware of social feedback. You learned early that love was conditional, that approval came and went, that who you were needed constant adjustment to keep the peace. You spent years being a mirror, reflecting back what people needed to see instead of showing them who you actually were. This pattern has a name. Overfunctioning, when one person takes on the emotional weight of everyone just to maintain harmony. You were that person, and one day you realized something uncomfortable. The room was never going to return the favor, not because people are evil, but because you trained them not to. So when you stopped overfunctioning, when you stopped chasing approval, the people who only valued your performance had nothing left to hold on to, and the people who stayed, those are the ones who actually see you. Society has words for people like you. They say you're distant, intimidating, hard to read, but what they really mean is you are no longer easy to manipulate. There's a kind of freedom on the other side of caring too much. Most people never reach it because the withdrawal feels uncomfortable, the silence feels strange, but you pushed through, and what you found is rare. It's called an internal locus of control, the belief that your worth is not determined by external feedback. People with this mindset don't need applause, they don't need agreement, they move from their own center. That's not coldness, that's groundedness. So if you're hearing this and you recognize yourself, If you've been called selfish for protecting your energy or cold for no longer shrinking, hear this clearly. The version of you that stopped performing for a crowd that was never truly watching is not broken. That version is the most honest you've ever been. You are not cold. You are not arrogant. You are not lost. You are simply done explaining yourself to people who already decided who you were. Long-term research on human well-being found one defining trait in people who lived fulfilling lives. Not wealth, not fame, not popularity, but authenticity. The ability to be fully yourself in any room. You didn't lose people when you stopped caring. You found yourself. And that is one of the quietest, fiercest things a person can do. If this felt like something you needed to hear, leave a comment below. I read every single one.